Welcome to Mind Set in Stone podcasts, where we dive deep into the most compelling books on the shelf. Join hosts Dave and Poppy as they uncover the stories, themes, and ideas that shape our understanding and inspire curiosity. Get ready to explore the big ideas that leave a lasting impact. Let's get started.
Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going somewhere really fascinating. We're talking about Ho'oponopono.
It's a Hawaiian practice, ancient actually, and it's about achieving, well, quite a lot actually. Wealth, health, peace, all that and more.
We'll be diving deep into the book Zero Limits. It's by Joe Vitale, and he co-wrote it with Ihalikala Hugh Len.
And get this, Ho'oponopono hinges on the idea of you taking full 100% responsibility for your entire experience. Everything.
Now, before you tune out thinking blame, no thanks, it's not about that.
No, not blame. Think of it more like clearing out all that internal clutter that we all have, and seeing how that clutter, that's what's creating your reality.
Right, and what we want to do today in this deep dive is break down Ho'oponopono, not just what it is, but how you can actually use it to make some real changes in your own life.
Exactly. We're aiming for those aha moments, those insights that shift your whole perspective.
So let's start at the beginning. What got Joe Vitale, the author, so interested in this in the first place?
Well, it all starts with a story. Joe heard it from a friend, Mark Ryan. And this story, it was about a therapist in Hawaii.
Okay, a therapist. What's so special about that?
Well, hold on. This therapist, he had apparently healed a whole ward of patients. Criminally insane patients.
Criminally insane? That's serious.
It is. And the kicker, he healed them without ever actually seeing them, like never met them face to face.
No way. So we're talking like healing at a distance.
That's right. No direct interaction, just poof, healing. Now, Joe, even with his background and all this self-help stuff, he was skeptical.
I can imagine. That's pretty wild.
Right. But he was also intrigued. I mean, who wouldn't be? This went against everything he knew about healing, therapy, everything.
So naturally, he wants to find out more.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Back then, you couldn't just Google Ho'oponopono and get a million results.
Yeah, I can imagine. Not exactly a common term.
Right. So for a while, they hit a dead end, this amazing healing method, and nobody seemed to know anything about it.
Talk about frustrating.
Totally. But then a bit of luck. Mark Ryan, the friend, he mentions the therapist again, this time at a hypnosis convention.
Okay, so now they have a bit more to go on.
Right. More details, a name. And this time, when they search online, boom, they find it. www.ho'oponopono.org.
The mother lode.
Basically. And that's where they discover this concept called self-identity through Ho'oponopono. Scythe, for short.
Scythe? Sounds intense. What is that exactly?
Think of Scythe as the practical side of Ho'oponopono, taking these ancient Hawaiian ideas and applying them to, modern life, to healing yourself.
Okay, starting to get the picture. So what's the absolute core idea here, the thing you need to grasp to understand any of this?
It's responsibility. Not just for your actions, but for everything. Everything that shows up in your life.
Hold on a second. Everything. Like if someone cuts me off in traffic or, I don't know, some tragedy happens across the world, that's my responsibility.
That's where most people trip up. It's a tough concept to swallow. But think of it this way. If you experience something, if it shows up in your reality, then there's something inside you, some thought, that resonated with it. You're not to blame for the event itself, no. But you are responsible for how it shows up for you. It's in your reality.
I see. So it's not about blaming yourself for everything bad that happens, but more about acknowledging that your inner world, your thoughts, feelings, all of it, that creates your experience of the outer world.
Exactly. And this is where the cleaning comes in. We'll get to the specifics of that soon.
Yeah.
But first, this idea of 100% responsibility, it's a hard one to grasp. It's much easier to just blame, right? To point fingers.
Oh, for sure. If something goes wrong, it's much easier to say, well, it was their fault.
Right. But that takes away your power power to change things. Because if you're not responsible, then you can't do anything about it, right?
Right.
But with Ho'oponopono, you step into your power. You realize, hey, my inner world is creating my outer world. So if I want to change things out there, I need to change things in here.
I'm starting to see the logic here. So let's get to the practical side. If I'm on board with this whole 100% responsibility thing, how do I actually clean these thoughts? What do I do?
It's simpler than you might think. The main tool, it's 4 phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you.
That's it. Those 4 phrases are the key to all this.
That's right. Powerful, aren't they?
They are. But who are we saying them to? Like, who are we directing these phrases towards?
You're directing them inwards. to the divinity within you. It could be God, love, the universe, whatever resonates with you. The idea is that this divine part of you, that's what can cleanse the erroneous thoughts, those painful memories that are creating the problems.
So it's not about apologizing to the person I'm having an issue with or asking them for forgiveness. It's all internal.
You got it. You're not trying to change the other person or even the external situation. You're neutralizing the energy, those memories you hold inside that are connected to that person or situation.
I see. It's about clearing the energy, not the actual thing itself.
Exactly. And this can work in everyday life. Joe Vitale tells a story about getting a really upsetting email. You know the kind. Makes you want to fire back a nasty reply.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Well, instead of replying, he just kept repeating those phrases. I'm sorry. I love you. Not to the person who sent the email, just to himself, silently. Just invoking love and asking for cleansing.
So what happened?
His anger just melted away. And he was able to respond to the email calmly and rationally. Pretty amazing, right? Just those 4 phrases.
It really is so simple yet so powerful. Now, the book also talks about this distinction between intention and inspiration. What's the difference there, and how does that tie into Ho'oponopono?
Okay, so you know how most self-help stuff focuses on setting intentions,
Yeah.
right? Visualizing what you want, using affirmations, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty standard stuff.
Right. Well, in Zero Limits, they basically call those techniques toys. Toys your mind plays with to make you think you're in control.
Toys. So they're not effective.
They can be, to an extent. But the book argues that relying solely on intention, on just your willpower, it's limited. It only gets you so far.
Okay, so if intention isn't the key, what is?
Inspiration, divine inspiration, inspiration that comes from the zero state, the seed of pure potentiality.
The zero state. That sounds familiar. We touched on that earlier.
Right. And they talk about 3 stages. You're either a victim, a creator, or a servant to the divine. When you're a creator, that's when you're relying on intention. But it's in that 3rd stage, as a servant to the divine, that's where the real magic happens, where you surrender to inspiration. And then miracles can just happen effortlessly.
So it's less about striving and forcing things to happen and more about aligning yourself with a greater power.
Exactly. It's like with intention, you're trying to break down a locked door. But with inspiration, it's like you find the key and it just opens effortlessly.
I like that analogy. It makes sense.
The book talks about Rhonda Byrne, the woman behind The Secret, and her experience making that film. She says the idea for the trailer just came to her out of the blue. And the whole process, it was like the universe was just guiding her every step of the way.
So that's an example of inspiration in action.
Yeah, that sudden flash of insight seemingly coming from nowhere. That's what they're talking about. That's the real power.
Okay, I'm starting to see how intention and inspiration are different. What about when it comes to specific goals? Like, let's say you want to lose weight. Would you say setting the intention to lose weight is a bad thing?
Dr. Hugh Len would actually say that in the zero state, there's no need for intention at all. Issues like weight, those are just memories replaying. And those memories, they cloud your true self, the zero state. So to return to that pure state, divinity needs to erase those memories. He says there are 2 ways we experience life, either through fresh, new inspiration from the divine or through old, stored memories. So instead of setting an intention to lose weight, you'd focus on cleaning the memories that make you want to overeat.
Interesting. So you shift your focus from the outcome, the weight loss itself, to the internal stuff that might be causing the problem in the first place.
Right. By consistently cleaning those memories, the urge to overeat, it just naturally fades away. And you're left with peace.
I see. Intention in this framework is almost like resistance. It's like you're fighting against the current. But with inspiration, you're just flowing with it.
Exactly. You let go of control and surrender to something greater. And that's where the real transformation happens.
So let's talk more about these memories. They seem pretty central to all of this. What exactly are they and why are they so problematic?
Well, it's not just memories like, remembering what you had for breakfast. It's deeper than that. It's all those ingrained beliefs, all the patterns, the reactions, the emotions that we carry around. All that stuff that's accumulated throughout our lives, maybe even from our ancestors. Like programs running in the background of our minds, influencing everything we think, feel, and do.
Okay, that makes sense. But why can't we just, think our way out of those negative patterns? If we know they're not helpful, why can't we just use our willpower to change them?
Because willpower or intellect, that can only take you so far. You can analyze, you can strategize, you can try to outsmart those memories, but you can't erase the emotional charge that's attached to them. It's like trying to clean a really stubborn stain with just a damp cloth. It might look better on the surface, but the stain's still there deep down. Ho'oponopono, with those cleaning phrases, that's like using a deep cleaner. It gets to the root of the problem.
I see. It's not just about changing your thoughts. It's about transforming the energy behind those thoughts.
Exactly. And this is where Dr. Hugh Len's work at that mental hospital, it becomes really powerful. Because he wasn't trying to change those patients directly. He was cleaning himself, cleaning those shared memories, those common programs that were causing their issues.
It's like he was saying, if I can heal this within myself, then that healing will ripple out and affect the whole environment.
Right. He was taking 100% responsibility, not just for his own stuff, but for the shared energy that was causing the problems. And the results, they speak for themselves. He didn't use any traditional therapy methods, just cleaning. And yet the whole atmosphere of the ward changed. The violence stopped. People started taking responsibility for themselves. Staff were happier. The whole thing. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. It challenges the whole idea of how healing works, doesn't it? Like, we tend to think we need to directly address the problem to fix it from the outside. But he was saying, no, the real work is internal.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. But in this case, it's heal the change you want to see in the world.
I like that. Now, the book also mentions some research that supports this idea that our thoughts and actions are driven by unconscious processes.
Yeah, they talk about Guy Claxon's book, The Wayward Mind, and some experiments by Benjamin Libet that suggest our unconscious intentions often come before our conscious decisions. Yeah. So like you make the decision to do something, but your unconscious mind, it already decided a split second before. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. It makes you wonder who is really in control here.
Right. It's all pointing to the power of the unconscious. And that's what Ho'oponopono is trying to address, to clear out those deep-seated programs, those memories that are running the show without us even knowing it.
And the zero state, that place of pure potentiality, that's what we're trying to get back to, right?
Exactly. That's the goal. It's called Ao-o-Akua in Hawaiian. It's a state of pure possibility, free from all those limitations and memories that define our everyday reality. Think of it like the blank canvas before the painting begins.
I remember Dr. Hugh Len using a really powerful analogy to explain this, something about a triangle.
Oh, right, yeah. It's to picture yourself as a triangle. The base of the triangle, that's your intellect and subconscious, all filled up with memories and programs. And the top point of the triangle, that's divinity, the zero state, the source of all inspiration.
Okay, I'm visualizing it. And the inspiration, those fresh ideas, they flow from that top point, from divinity. But the memories, they act like a blockage, preventing that flow.
Exactly. And the goal of Ho'oponopono is to clear away those blockages, to clean those memories so that you can reconnect with that divine source, with the zero state, and let the inspiration flow freely again.
That's beautiful imagery. So if this divinity is the source of inspiration, is it something outside of us that we need to reach for?
No,
No.
it's within you. Dr. Hugh Len is very clear about that. This divine intelligence, it resides within each of us. He also talks about the Hawaiian concept of Aumakua, which represents the superconscious, that part of you that's connected to the divine, that knows everything and is always guiding you.
So the cleaning process, those 4 phrases, they're not about manipulating some external force. It's about clearing the static within ourselves so we can hear the guidance that's already there.
That's a perfect way to put it. The memories are like static, like noise, drowning out the signal. And cleaning, that's how you tune in to the clear channel, the channel of inspiration and wisdom that's coming from your Aumakua, from your divine self.
That's so powerful. So I'm starting to see how all of this comes together. The 100% responsibility, the cleaning, the zero state, the inspiration, it's all connected.
Right. It's a whole system, a way of seeing reality and your place in it. And the best part is, it's not just theoretical. There are real-life examples of how this works. Joe Vitale himself, he talks about losing weight without dieting. He just cleaned the memories associated with overeating, loved the program, as he says, and the urge just went away naturally.
That's pretty incredible. Are there other examples like that? Other people who have seen real changes in their lives through Ho'oponopono?
Oh, tons. There's the story of this vegetarian group meeting that Joe organized. He put in minimal effort, but somehow a huge crowd showed up. And he attributes it to acting on inspiration, like you just felt this urge to do it, and he trusted that impulse. Then there's this rental car miracle. He noticed some damage on the car, but it was already documented. So he was spared the responsibility and the cost. Again, something he attributes to cleaning. And there's a story about his sister getting her dream job shortly after he started working with Dr. Hugh Len.
Wow, so these examples, they range from personal well-being to career success to just random lucky breaks. It's like this practice can impact all areas of life.
Exactly. And there are even more dramatic examples. Like there's a story about a seminar attendee who was crying uncontrollably, and just by silently using those 4 phrases, her tears just stopped instantly. And there's a story about a gang member who completely transformed his life through forgiveness and love, inspired by Ho'oponopono.
That's amazing. It's like this practice can help us heal not just ourselves, but our relationships and our whole lives.
And it goes even deeper than that. There's a story about a guy who had this chronic pain in his left leg. Turned out it was connected to repressed anger. And once he shifted his perception, cleaned those memories, the pain disappeared.
So it's not just about physical healing, it's emotional and mental healing as well.
Right, and it can even work on a collective level. There's a story about a woman who learned Ho'oponopono, and as she started cleaning, her whole family experienced positive changes. Her son's behavior improved, her husband got a promotion, all this amazing stuff just started happening. And there's Evelyn Cole, she runs a business, and she says whenever she cleans, everything just runs more smoothly. No drama, no problems, just ease and flow.
So it's like cleaning yourself. It cleans the energy around you, and that benefits everyone.
That's the idea. And it can even influence seemingly random events. There's a story about a bear rescue that might have been influenced by someone practicing Ho'oponopono. And there's a woman who healed her asthma through cleaning.
Wow, so the possibilities seem endless. It's like this practice can impact anything and everything.
And what's really interesting is that it's not just about the individual doing the cleaning. There's a story about a psychologist who shifted her approach. Instead of focusing on her client's problems, she started cleaning herself. And she saw amazing results. Her clients started improving dramatically, even though she wasn't doing anything differently in her sessions.
It's like that idea of the therapist in Hawaii healing those patients without ever seeing them. The healing happens through the internal work, not the external actions.
Exactly. And there's a story about a woman with bipolar disorder. She was struggling for years, but after starting Ho'oponopono, she showed significant improvement.
It's really remarkable. Now, let's go back to Dr. Hugh Len's work at the Hawaii State Hospital. Those transformations were incredible. To see such drastic changes in such a challenging environment, it's almost unbelievable.
I know, right? It's hard to wrap your head around it. You have this high-security unit for the criminally insane. These are people who've committed serious crimes. They're considered dangerous. And before Dr. Hugh Len arrived, the atmosphere was just terrible. Lots of violence. Patients were constantly restrained. Staff were burnt out and taking lots of sick leave. It was a really bleak situation.
And his approach, as we've discussed, was so unconventional. He wasn't doing therapy in the traditional sense.
No, not at all. A social worker who worked there at the time, her name was Omaka Okala Hamaguchi, she said he seemed to be doing next to nothing outwardly. He didn't evaluate patients. He rarely went to meetings. He mostly kept to himself.
But he was cleaning.
Constantly. That was his main activity. Practicing scythe, cleaning those shared memories within himself.
And the changes were real.
Oh, absolutely. Over the 3 years he was there, they stopped using seclusion rooms and restraints completely. The violence practically disappeared. Patients started taking care of themselves, participating in their treatment plans, even going on outings outside the unit. Family visits, which were almost unheard of before, became more common. The whole environment shifted. It became a place of healing instead of a place of fear and chaos.
That's mind-blowing. By focusing on his own internal work, he transformed a whole ward of criminally insane patients.
And staff morale improved too. They stopped taking so much sick leave. They were happier, more engaged. It was a win-win for everyone.
It's a testament to the power of this practice, for sure. What about that patient, the one who had committed murder? That story always stuck with me.
That's a powerful one. This patient was considered one of the most dangerous, completely delusional. But after Dr. Hugh Len had been there for a while, something changed. People started noticing this patient walking around freely, no restraints. The social worker, who used to be terrified of him, she said she felt no fear anymore.
Wow. And what happened with him in the end?
Well, at some point, this patient asked to learn scythe. He wanted to do the cleaning himself. And at his court hearing, he dismissed his lawyer and stood up and said, "I'm responsible and I'm sorry." Imagine that. A man who had committed murder, taking full responsibility for his actions. It's incredibly powerful.
It shows the potential for real transformation, even in the most extreme cases. So, if we want to maintain those positive changes, if we want to live from this place of peace and inspiration, the book emphasizes the importance of constant cleaning. Why is that?
Because we're constantly bombarded with memories, with stimuli, with all this stuff that influences us without us even realizing it. Dr. Hugh Lenz stressed that cleaning needs to be an ongoing practice. It's not a one-time fix, it's a way of life. And to help with this, he created this symbol, the seaport symbol. He used it on his business cards and stickers. It stands for clean, erase, erase while returning back to port the zero state.
So the symbol itself, it's a tool.
Right, like a visual reminder to keep cleaning. And Joe Vitale, he does something similar. He'll use everyday objects, like his business card or even the logo of a car, as focal points for cleaning. He'll look at the object and just silently repeat those cleaning phrases, intending to clear any negative memories associated with it. The point is, you can use anything as a reminder to clean.
So cleaning becomes this ongoing practice, a way of life, to constantly clear out those memories and return to the zero state.
That's the goal. And here's an important point. It's not about trying to control how divinity responds.
Meaning, we don't set specific intentions for how we want the cleaning to manifest.
Right. We can't dictate to divinity. We simply clean and trust that things will unfold in the way that's best for everyone involved. Our job is to clear the blockages, the memories, and let divinity handle the rest.
So we let go of control and surrender to a higher power.
Exactly. That's the key to living from the zero state. There's also this idea of playing your role that the book talks about. Dr. Hugh Lenz uses the analogy of a symphony. Each of us has our own unique instrument to play, our own contribution to make to the whole.
I like that analogy. So if we try to play someone else's instrument or we neglect our own, that's when problems arise.
That's the idea. We get caught up in trying to control everything, trying to force things to happen, instead of just trusting that we're exactly where we need to be, doing exactly what we need to be doing.
And that ties into the idea of surrendering to inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Letting go of the need to control and just trusting the flow of life.
Right. And this whole practice, it's all rooted in love. Dr. Hugh Lenz, he even talks about saying, I love you to food.
Really? Why would he do that?
His view is that it's not the food itself that's good or bad, it's our thoughts about it. So by saying I love you to the food, he's cleaning any negative associations he might have with it. It's about seeing everything, even food, as an opportunity to practice love and forgiveness.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. Now, the book also brings up this somewhat uncomfortable fact that we don't really control our thoughts.
Yeah, it's true. Thoughts just pop into our heads, seemingly out of nowhere. We can't really control what comes up.
So what can we do?
The only thing we can control is how we react to those thoughts. Do we believe them? Do we act on them? Or do we just let them pass by without giving them any power? In cleaning, that helps us to clear the unconscious so that the thoughts that arise are more positive, more helpful, more aligned with our true selves.
So cleaning is like weeding the garden of our minds. We clear out the weeds, the negative thoughts and beliefs, so that the flowers, the positive thoughts, can flourish.
Exactly. It creates a more fertile ground for inspiration to take root and grow.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive into Ho'oponopono. We've covered so much ground, from the core principles to real-life examples to the mind-blowing transformations that have happened through this practice.
That's a lot to take in for sure.
It is. So let's break it down for our listeners, give them some key takeaways to remember.
First and foremost, remember the power of taking 100% responsibility. Everything in your experience, it's a reflection of your inner state. So clean it. Clean those thoughts, those memories, those beliefs.
And remember those 4 powerful phrases. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Use them liberally. Direct them inwards to the divinity within you.
And instead of trying to force things to happen through sheer willpower, cultivate a sense of openness to divine inspiration. Let go of control and trust that things will unfold as they should.
Don't see your problems as enemies. See them as opportunities to clean. Those negative thoughts, those challenges, those are just memories replaying. And cleaning is how you neutralize their power.
And most importantly, trust the process. Trust that continuous cleaning, combined with faith in the divine, can lead to profound transformation in all areas of your life.
So what are some practical steps our listeners can take, starting today, to incorporate Ho'oponopono into their lives?
Start by using those 4 phrases. Make it a habit to repeat them throughout the day, especially when you're feeling stressed, angry, or frustrated. You can say them silently to yourself. No one even needs to know you're doing it.
And pay attention to your internal reactions. When something bothers you, when you have a negative thought, instead of focusing on the external situation, focus on cleaning those thoughts and feelings within yourself.
Remember, every negative emotion, every challenge, it's an opportunity to clean. And as a final thought for you to consider, Think about a recurring problem you're facing. Maybe it's a relationship issue, a financial struggle, a health concern, whatever it is. Instead of trying to solve it externally, what would happen if you took 100% responsibility for its presence in your life? And what if you started cleaning those memories, those beliefs that might be contributing to the problem? What if you simply repeated the phrase, "I love you," to the divinity within you, trusting that a higher power is working to bring about resolution?
It's a powerful concept, for sure, and one that invites us to step into a whole new way of seeing ourselves and the world around us. We encourage you to continue exploring Ho'oponopono, maybe revisit the ideas we discussed today, read the book Zero Limits, or do some research on your own. It's a fascinating practice with incredible potential for healing and transformation.
And who knows what miracles might unfold when you start cleaning.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep cleaning, keep loving, and keep trusting the process.
We hope you're leaving with fresh insights and a spark of inspiration. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and check back for more episodes as we dive into new worlds of thought, one book at a time. Until then, keep your mind set in stone and your curiosity open. This has been a Big L Riz Media podcast, where big ideas meet lasting impressions.